Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, today's show might not be very long, but it's going to pack a wallop. First, let's begin with the Oversight Board of Facebook deciding that Trump's ban was appropriate, but they admit that the rules need to be applied fairly and equally, and they said that an indefinite suspension isn't fair, so we get left in limbo. What a bunch of crock. And let me explain something that nobody, we need to stress this. This is a Facebook oversight board for Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, American jury and Bulldog Nation, I don't know if you've ever had to endure an incestual, corrupt process before. I have. It's called bar association processes, and they try to set up committees and things, and they act like that they're all independent of each other, and they're all rowing the oar in the same damn direction. That's just the way it is. And it's not binding anyway. I mean, it just makes Facebook look stupid. Then, of course, we have good old Twitter weighs in. Jack Dorsey, their ban on Trump is permanent. It's just off the chart. These companies are like governments. They need to begin treated like governments. In other words, the laws that protect us from the government doing this type of thing needs to apply to them. Congress can do it. Of course, you ever notice that they might whine and complain a little bit? But you think that why would the Democrats ever do anything to these people? Next, the cult of personality. That's the buzzword that Lynn Cheney is using. Now, I'm putting a picture up here of, you want to talk about a cult of personality? Right there, good old Barack Obama. Now, why do they use this phrase? Because we all know that the word cult has bad connotations. We all think of Jim Jones, we all think of crazy stuff, right? Cult. So they try to insult, defame, belittle Trump and all of his supporters by calling it cult of personality versus leadership. Leadership. They don't want to use the word leadership. They'll use the leadership for them. But has there ever been, in more recent times, a more cult of personality than Barack Obama? They're allowed to have their cult of personality of Barack Obama and Hillary and Joe Biden. Well, actually, Joe Biden, you have to have at least 2 supporters to have a cult, right? It's just a bunch of crock. All right, Caitlyn Jenner. You know what? I couldn't resist. I watched the interview. And it was a little weird and bizarre to hear Bruce Jenner and Bruce Jenner's voice, who's dressed up in transgender Caitlyn Jenner. And it's a little odd. But you know what? I looked past it all. And I listened to what he had to say, or she had to say. I'm going to be respectful. She had to say. And I liked what she had to say. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't trust her on the left, or excuse me, the right. But give me a break. Are you kidding me? You're going to pass up the opportunity for somebody who wants a wall as governor of California? Somebody who's against the lockdowns as governor of California? Are you kidding me? I used to be in the club car of tri-state politics, Northern Kentucky politics. And I always was blown away how some organizations was literally all or nothing. Instead of, okay, what's the choice here? Thomas Sowell says it's always a selection of options and alternatives, trade-offs. And it is. You want it. I think Caitlyn Jenner can win. I mean, I like what she had to say. Kamala mass kissing. You can't make this up. Kamala and her husband. Now think about it. These are 2 people, fully vaccinated, who lived together, who kissed through a mask. Not much tongue action. Liz Cheney, who is propagating that cult of personality, who's under fire, is supported by people. Mitt Romney, her conscience, she's a person of conscience. Susan Collins and all of them. Well, guess what? She's being taken out, we hope. We can only hope that ELISE STEFANIK takes her spot on the committee. And just to let you know about Liz Cheney. Okay, Liz Cheney is one of the, I think Wyoming has 2 Congress people. I mean, they don't have very many because their population is so small. She's the daughter of Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney, the billionaire from Halliburton, who was the shadow president. What do you think Dick Cheney's politics are with George Bush as it relates to Trump? Officer Rolfe, this is tragedy. The mayor of Atlanta had suspended him. He had to get reinstated. He recently got reinstated. He's the officer that shot RAYSHARD Brooks. And Rolfe's back to work. RAYSHARD Brooks is another man who broke away from being arrested. You ready for this? He admits that he did it. I kind of like the honesty. He admits he did it because he didn't want Black Lives Matter to burn down the city. Folks, that is exactly why Joe Deters prosecuted Ray Tenzing, to avoid Cincinnati being burned down. This is the game that's played all across this country. That is called rule by riot. Stacey Abrams. Have you read a Stacey Abrams romance novels? Can you imagine the story that Stacey Abrams weaves together? Romance novel? Apparently they're being republished and there might be a movie deal in it. I'm sorry. I don't get the cult of personality around Stacey Abrams. Black Superman. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jerry and Bulldog Nation, isn't this just pathetic? They got to make a black Superman. They got apparently working on a black James Bond. Black this. Are we going to have a white Shaft? Are we going to have a white Shaft? You know, the old, everything with the lefties on race is 2 wrongs make a right. Discrimination and changing weird things with whites makes it okay. At the same time, they're complaining about it with the black. Seriously. Are we going to have a white Shaft? I want to know. Are we going to have a white Black Panther? White Panther. Then I want to cover 2 more things. Bill Gates. I stay away from divorce stuff. I stay away generally about all that kind of thing. But, I have to make fun of Bill Gates. This guy, after 27 years of marriage and no prenup, this guy, it comes out, and I'm sure this was leaked, probably by somebody on her team for a purpose, that she accepted and Bill Gates accepted that his ex-girlfriend, they went away once a year for a week on the Outer Banks in North Carolina. In other words, he had a hall pass for a week every year. Weird and creepy. Just bizarro. The way these people live. The way these people live. And they dictate to us. Last but not least, I want to bring up something that nobody talks about in the national news. Teddy Roosevelt was a Republican. He also loved the banner that he carried of progressive. Very different back then. He helped for child labor laws, lots of, but he went after the trusts because he thought it was bad for this country that they were getting so big and so far out of hand. And the Northern Securities case is the famous case that he won by a close decision. I think it was 5-4, where they busted up the Northern Securities Railroad, and it was a big win. There was a sugar trust, a tea trust, these big conglomerates. And it was hurting the country. There was no middle class. It was labor. It was the trust. I just sit back and marvel how George Bush 43, Barack Obama, and now Joe Biden, and I remember reading that it looked like Trump's Justice Department was taking a look at Google, Facebook, Apple, so forth and so on. But I don't get, well, I know why. It's called lobbyists and money to both parties. But why we let these companies go unpursued for antitrust, anti-competitive practices under the Sherman Antitrust, I don't understand. It is a national security risk and an economic disaster to have banks too big to fail and companies who get away with censoring. Somebody needs to do something. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.